Welcome back to Game On. Starting things off, we had the Colac Tigers 117-point winners over Lara, and Jason Armistead, the Tigers coach, said that they still had a few areas they needed to address despite a pretty big win there.
Yeah, obviously we were expected to win, but we still had a few key players out. Zach Zybel, Zara Walters, Lockie Simpkin, the outs from last weekend, and obviously plus a few more. So there still was a job to be done there. I thought Billy Buchanan, Cooper Forbes and Darcy Howard stepped back in and were fitted in pretty seamlessly. Army said in the paper that the skill execution was a little bit sloppy. I thought that was probably a little bit harsh. It's a small ground at Lara, funny shaped ground too, and when you're on top by so much, the opposition sort of flood the defence, making it hard to find space inside forward 50. So that leads to the ball being on the ground a lot more, and sort of tight shots at goal that they're a little bit harder. I thought overall it was probably a positive. But looking ahead, this weekend is a big one. There were a few big games around the ground. On the weekend just gone, and the big one was Bell Park beat St Mary's by 70 points, which was a little bit of a surprise, but it means we sit alone in third place. And then
chance to take top spot.
Yeah, well, we go to Bell Park this weekend with a chance to take Bell's top spot with Newtown and St Joey's only one win ahead, and they don't play this weekend. But some notable players from the weekend were Kane Smart. He was terrific. He had 14 disposals and 4 goals. Ben McCarthy, I feel like I say his name every week, but he had 37 disposals, 11 clearances and 9 inside 50s. And then Cody Spokes was really good, used the ball really well. He had 26 disposals, 5 clearances and 9 inside 50s. And then Adam Garner cashed in again, 19 disposals, 5 goals and 10 marks inside forward 50.
For the Colac Tigers netball, massive win for the squad, 26-goal victory over 6th place at Lara, Lou.
Yeah, and Dave Boyce, he said Mary placed. She was a dead-eye in goal shooter. She shot 55 of 62 goals, which was her highest tally in an A-grade game, and she actually led the competition this week for goals scored.
Yeah, and the service was pretty good up the court too. The Tigers' off-ball movement was exceptional, sort of creating that space for Mary. Dave Boyce said skipper Emily Murfitt was awesome as well.
Yeah, Boyce also mentioned that in the lead-up to this game in training, he laid the challenge to his team, saying that they had 5 games remaining. 3 of those they really wanted to make sure that they could grab. And, they've still got 2 very winnable games now against Bell Park and Grovedale in the coming weeks.
To CDFNL football now, Illawarra Beyakers helped its finals ambitions with a 2-point win over South Colac, but it wasn't great news for the Bombers, with star on bowler Mitch Thornton potentially rupturing his ACL in the game. He was stretched off in the second quarter of the game at Eliminate, and not looking good for him.
Yeah, the Bombers got off to a flyer in this one. 4 goals to 1 in the opening quarter, and they extended their lead to 30 by half-time. South Colac cut its 22-point quarter-time deficit to just 2 points by the final siren, in a finals-shaping clash.
Yeah, well, the Roos almost pinched it in the end there. Brad Circuit took a mark just inside forward 50 in the dying seconds, and he dished a handball off to Adam Donoghue, and he let a shot fly just as the siren sounded. We think it would have counted if it was to go through, but it fell just short, and so did the Roos. Alvey made the biggest statement of the round, knocking off Lorne by 6 points in a win that no one saw coming.
Yeah, and the wins knocked Lorne off the top of the ladder, and Alvey coach Shane Quick said that the game was a bit of an arm wrestle, but it was their other coach, Dom Dare, who kicked the game winner. A nice dribble goal from the pocket.
That's it. Alvey held Lorne to 1 point in the second quarter and managed to push their lead to 10 points at the half. Alvey actually now holds the league's best defence, guys, through 15 rounds. It's 692 points conceded on the season, which comes to about 46 a game. Shane Quick said that they've really prided themselves on being able to defend over the past couple of years. Beauregard defeated Apollo Bay by 53 points on the weekend, and Saints coach Dave McNeil is back at the helm after a 3-match absence. The 2 clubs celebrated Indigenous Round on the coast with specially designed jerseys. McNeil said his side was starting to find its early season form once again, guys, with players returning back from injury. Flynn Darrick made a successful return to senior footy, playing his first game in over a year after coming back from an ACL.
Yeah, and the Imps, they had a big win over Otway Districts by 72 points, but they'll be sweating on a bit of an injury to Jet Price. He hurt his ankle, and Imperials coach Bailey Scott said it looked pretty serious. But that win for Imperials puts them on top of the ladder. We mentioned how Lorne dropped that game to Albi, so that's their 13th straight win for Imperial. So they're looking really strong at the moment. But Bailey Scott said the Otway Districts, they actually really challenged his side in the first quarter and probably could have been in front at quarter time. But he credited his side for bouncing back in the second quarter.
Yeah, and the Western Eagles defeated Simpson by 8 points, but they had to come from behind the Eagles. They were down by 7 going into the last quarter, and I probably think that's a really good win for a young side. It's a game they probably expected to win, but to come from behind is a really good sign. Dan Casey said some last quarter brilliance from Rowan Haywood and Levi Deinhoven. They popped up with a few goals to get them over the line and seal the win.
In CDFNL Netball, Albi have had a massive come-from-behind win, guys, to beat Lorne by a goal in a 48-47 game. Albi coach Sarah Morris, said that the encounter felt very much like finals, and it was the return of a defensive standout in Ruby Bowers that really proved pivotal for the Swans.
Yeah, and the Swans, they also had a past premiership player, Laura Kelly. She played for them in defence with Bowers, obviously plays at Portland in the Hampden League, but they had to buy it on the weekend, so they had her play in defence. But the Swans, they were actually down 7 at the end of the first quarter, but won the second and the fourth quarter to runaway winners.
Yeah, now Lorne still remain in the hunt for finals, but the maths isn't pretty. They're 6 points behind South Colac with 3 games remaining.
Simpson's netball finals hopes took a major dint with a 17-goal loss to the Western Eagles, and it was a fast start by the Eagles that really set this win up. A 17-6 opening quarter forced the Tigers to really play catch-up all game.
Yeah, well, that lead stretched out to 12 goals by half-time. Simpson rallied a little bit in that third quarter, cutting it down to 8. But the young Eagles side, they stood up, which was really promising, and ran away with the match in the end.
That's it. Eagles skipper Remy Darnovan led from the front all day, scoring 36 goals and was supported really well by Bria McLaughlin's 18 contributions.
Illawarra Beak proved too strong for South Colac with a 12-goal win over the Roos. For the Bombers, they steadily expanded their leads at each quarter, but Narelle Frith, she said the game was pretty even in the second half. The Bombers, they were led by Jeremy Robertson and Rachel Seabright, who both scored 28 goals, while South Colac, they were without Chloe Lang due to illness and Millie Sibley, which proved pretty costly for them.
Yeah, the Colac Imperials notched up their 12th win of the season with a 22-point victory over the Otway Districts. IMS coach Chloe Gray said Ruby Kerr was terrific in wing defence. She's put in a lot of work to sort of really figure out that position and is flying. Kiara Foster led all goal getters this weekend with 44, but she still remains 44 behind Lorne, Sade, Stafford.
And Birregurra defeated Apollo Bay by 37 goals in a 60-23 game. The Saints have won 5 in a row now, leading from start to finish in this one, guys, despite being without leading goaler Tess Blake. B grade goal shooter Georgia Glynn filled in her stead, and she led all goalers on the day with 33, while Saskia Rowan contributed with an efficient 27 goals from 30 shots. The Hawks did improve on their losing margin from the first time round that these two teams played, improving it by 18 goals, despite being without Kath Spears, who was out with the flu, and Chloe Howell, who's still recovering from a calf tear. For the netball hotshots of the week, in first place we've got Kiara Foster, as Coop said, 44 goals from 53 attempts against Otway. Second was Sade Stafford with 43 goals off 46 attempts against Albi. And rounding it out, guys, we've got Remy Deinhoven with 36 goals from 48 shots against Simpson. Now, for baseball news, guys, I think this is the first time all season that I can remember both Braves sides losing on the same round. Unfortunately, the Braves Div 2 lost to East Belmont Saints 7-5.
Yeah, and after trailing early, the Braves come to life in the 5th inning, stringing together a series of key at-bats to level the score at 4-all. However, East Belmont got on top in the bottom of the 6th to seal the win.
Yeah, Brendan De Lorenzo, he was terrific with bat and ball again. He went 3 from 4 with the bat, bringing in 3 RBIs, and then pitched 5 innings, allowing just 3 earned runs, and struck out 4 batters.
There you go. I think that no result for the club last week could come back to haunt the Braves. They've been leading the ladder all season, but now with this result, this loss to the Saints, they have dropped to second place underneath Lara. And in Div 4, unfortunately, it was another loss, 6-4 to the Saints as well.
It was a tough weekend across the board for the Colac Otway Rovers. No senior side scored a goal for the weekend, and it was a 4-0 loss for the senior men's side against the Barwon Soccer Club. They continue to leak early goals, the Rovers. They let in 3 before half-time on the weekend. They managed to steady the ship a little bit, allowing just 1 in the second half. But I don't think Eddie Doris will be happy with that.
No, and in other results, the women's had an 11-0 loss to Leopold. The Division 2 had a tough 1-0 loss to Geelong Rangers, and Division 3 had a 7-0 loss to Barwon.
Now, for the Colac Herald's Players of the Week, guys, I'm going to go with Albi coach Dom Dare's late match-winning goal against Lawn.
Yeah, mine's actually in an under-18 football match. Young Eagles footballer Gus Bennett kicked 18 goals against Simpson, so that's a fair day out for him.
Yeah, and I've got the first two-time winner of the Colac Herald Player of the Week. I'm going with Mary Place. She led all GFL goal-getters on the weekend with 55, but it could have been the whole Colac netball team. They had a great upset win against Lara.
And a special shout out goes to Zara Walters. She became the first ever Colac netballer to win the Suncorp Super Netball Championship with the Melbourne Vixens. They had a stunning 1-goal win over the West Coast Fever.
Yeah, well, she only played 2.5 quarters, but she had 13 goal assists, which was the second most for any Vixen behind goal attack Kira Austin. She also received 17 centre passes and was relatively faultless. She just had the 1 turnover and 2 penalties for the day, which is the lowest for any Vixen starter.
Thanks for watching Game On. We'll be back next week with all the sport that was from the weekend.